What's going on, everybody?
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video here with the Playbook Sports Podcast. Siefs coming at you with the Dallas Cowboys preview here when they host the New England Patriots heading into Week 4. Both these teams are kind of coming off different weeks. The Patriots coming off a win over the New York Jets, who they've honestly owned since 2015, winning 15 straight against them. And the Dallas Cowboys are coming off probably the biggest shocking loss of this NFL season so far for any team across the board, losing out in Arizona over the weekend, moving to 2-1 on the season. The story is really here is Bill Belichick's got this Patriots defense humming as he normally does. The offense will do just enough to keep them in these games. Maybe not win them these games close, but they'll keep them in it. They'll keep it close. Whereas Dallas on the other side of the ball, really good defense. Maybe the run defense got a little bit exposed last week against Arizona, giving up over 200 yards in the game on the ground. And then the red zone offense really got exposed last week. That's been a big problem for them this year in the first two games, and it really got exposed last week as they lost by 12 on the road in Arizona, only scoring one touchdown in their 5 red zone drives. So let's bore you with some stats
Before we get into today's video, guys, I just want to give a special shout out to today's sponsors, starting with Goldfine and Bowles, lawyers for the injured. Personal injury, workers' compensation, those are their two things, but any sort of legal advice, they're the people to call. Give them a phone call, 309-673-5144. Tell them we sent you, okay? And I'd also like to shout out SeatGeek for sponsoring today's video as well. Use promo code PlaybookSports on their website to get $20 off your first purchase of $30 or more. Let's get back to the video.
Get into some keys of the game, some key matchups and everything. Let's start with the Patriots. These stats are no rhyme or reason, no order, so just bear with me here. The Patriots have only scored 20 points offensively in 3 of their last 17 games, including 2 of their games this year. Or no, 1 game this year, 2 games last year. I apologize. 3 games in the last 17, they scored 20-plus on offense. They only have 3 plays of 20-plus yards this year as well. That's last in the NFL. The Patriots have the 5th total defense as far as yards given up go, and the 5th best pass defense as well. So really stout on that pass defense, and that run defense is pretty good as well as they're a top 10 scoring defense. The Patriots on third down are holding their opponents to 27% conversion rate on third down. That's really good. And then let's get into some specific stats here. Looking at the quarterback, Mac Jones, looking at the running back, Ramondre Stevenson, and then looking at the receiving options in Hunter Henry and Kendrick Bourne, who have really been leading the way for them. Let's start with Mac Jones. I'm trying to get an edge on, what does Dallas have to do on Sunday to get a hold of Mac Jones? What quarter or what half is Mac Jones struggling more? What down and distance is he struggling the most? What's going to be the biggest key to getting Mac Jones off of his rhythm and leading the Dallas Cowboys to victory in this game? So looking at the stats here, I won't bore you too long. Mac Jones on first and second down, awesome quarterback. Very, very good rating, great completion percentage, great touchdown interception ratio. Now, when you get to third down, it drops drastically. No touchdowns. He's got a pick, and that passer rating drops about 48 points. Yikes. It about cuts it in half from what it is on first and second down. Let's get into the stats. First down, he's 31 of 41, 75.6% completion, 302 passing yards, 2 tuds, 1 pick, 101.9 passer rating. Second down, he's 29 of 43 for 246 yards. That's 67.5% completion, 3 tuds, no picks, 105.4 passer rating. And then here's the money down that third down. 19 of 36 passing, 185 yards, 52.8% completion, no tuds, 1 pick, 55.9 quarterback rating. So as you can see, by the time the downs go, he's worse on second than he is first. He's worse on third than he is on second. So the longer you can get him here is the more plays you make him run to convert first down after first down, the worse he gets as far as passing goes. Let's move to the backfield. Ramondre Stevenson, who I was a huge fan of last year. I think I have him in both my fantasy leagues. I have him in my dynasty league still this year. Down year for Ramondre Stevenson. He's only averaging 44.7 rushing yards per game. He has 46 carries on the year for only 134 yards. That's 2.9 yards per carry. That's not going to cut it. Looking at Ezekiel Elliott, who the Patriots brought in this year, I got my old Cowboy Zeke jersey on. It's actually the newest Cowboy jersey I have, Zeke Elliott. So I don't even have a Cowboy jersey for a current player. That's a tough spot to be in as a fan. Zeke Elliott, 12 less yards on the season, 18 less carries than Ramondre Stevenson. I thought Zeke was supposed to be washed. I thought this guy was dog shit. He only has 12 less carries. Or no, he only has 12 less yards on 18 less carries. What's up, Ramondre? What's with the setback? What's with the year 2 setback here? And then looking at the receivers, as I mentioned, Kendrick Bourne and Hunter Henry are really leading the way in the receiving group. And then it drops off drastically until you get to third is Mike Gesicki as their third leading receiver on the season. So let's go ahead and hop into the Dallas stats side of things. I already gave the Patriots kind of rundown. Last thing I'll say about the Patriots, I saw Bill Belichick gave his usual weekly presser before the game. Talked about 5 minutes, gassing up the Cowboys front office, coaching staff, players. Mentioned 21 people specifically by name. Did not mention Dak Prescott by name in that 5 minutes little gush sesh Bill Belichick had for the Dallas Cowboys organization. Is that a shot at Dak? Is he not worried about Dak? I don't know. It's a little bit of bulletin board material, in my opinion. So let's get to the Dallas Cowboys stats on the year. I mentioned their run defense kind of got exposed last week. They're actually giving up more yards rushing on the season than passing yards, which is weird with a plus 48 point differential. They were up big against the Giants week 1 to start really the whole game. They won big against the Jets, and then last week they gave up over 200 yards in a loss. They've given up more rushing yards than passing yards on the year with a plus 48 point differential. I thought that was wild looking at it. The Dallas Cowboys lead the NFL with 12 drives of 10 plus plays, 10 plays or more. They have 12 drives of 10 plays or more, and they have the most trips into the red zone of any team. They've been in the red zone 15 times in 3 weeks, 5 times per week on average. Is crazy. They're also third in the NFL on third down conversion offensively at 51.1%. So on that money down, they're moving the chains. They're keeping these drives alive. They're getting down to the red zone. Now, when they get down to the red zone, that's another story. They've only scored 6 touchdowns on those 15 red zone drives, 0 touchdowns scored outside the red zone. So they're not hitting on these big home run plays as they have been the last few years. Also, no Dallas Cowboy receivers have a receiving touchdown through 3 games, kind of going back to that no big plays through 3 games here. Dallas Cowboys lead the NFL in turnover margin at +6. The first 2 weeks in their 2 wins, they were +7, taking the ball away 7 times, turning it over 0 times themselves. Last week, they had 0 takeaways and then the 1 turnover at the end of the game. Obviously, a big key for Dallas winning, and really all NFL teams winning, is winning that turnover differential or that turnover margin and having more takeaways than turnovers. Also, a fun little stat here, Brandon Aubrey, I've gushed over him a couple of times here on my previews and reviews. First kicker in Super Bowl era history to go 10 for 10 in his first 3 career games. Nice little stat there, Brandon Aubrey. Keep it up, man. You're fucking crushing it. Dallas Cowboys have the 27th ranked red zone offense and the 29th ranked offense in goal-to-go situations, talking about their struggles on the red zone and when they get down inside the 10, punching it in for touchdowns instead of field goals. It's been a big struggle for Dallas. 29th ranked offense in goal-to-go situations is not going to cut it for a perennial, honestly, Super Bowl contender. Tony Pollard as well leads the NFL with 64 carries and a 72 overall touches on the year, also leads the NFL. And it is the most touches for a Dallas Cowboy through the first 3 games since rookie year Ezekiel Elliott, who had 74 touches and over Pollard 72 this year. So let's go ahead and break it down. Let's get into some key matchups here. Seeing who's going up against who, and who's going to win those matchups, and will it affect the game and the outcome of the game, those individual matchups. The first one here, it'd be really discussing not to mention CeeDee Lamb against Christian Gonzalez right off the top. Patriots rookie corner has been absolutely electric. He's gone up against some great comp. I mean, he's gone up against Garrett Wilson last week. He went up against Tyreek Hill the week before. He went up against A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith the week before that. So he's been battle tested immediately. And looking at this Dallas offense, it's been a lot of CeeDee Lamb and not a lot of anybody else receiving. So if Christian Gonzalez can keep it up, what he's done the first 3 weeks of his NFL career, Dallas is going to struggle offensively if nobody else steps up in that receiving game. CeeDee Lamb on the other side has been awesome. I'll go over his stats later. But yeah, if Christian Gonzalez shadows him the whole game, Dallas might be in trouble through the air in this one. Second key matchup is going to be Matthew Judon for the New England Patriots defense against either Terrence Steele or Chuma Edoga on the left side, whatever tackle he is lined up against. Hopefully it's Terrence Steele for the Dallas Cowboys' sake, because Chuma Edoga looked rough last week at left tackle. Matthew Judon already 4 sacks through 3 games. He's going to be a great player. He's really the only player on that Patriot defense other than Christian Gonzalez this year, where you look at the last couple of years and you'd be like, he's been really, really good, above and beyond the rest of that defense. Third and final key matchup here. Normally I give 5, but I don't want to just give 2 to give them. So we're going to focus on really 3 big ones here. And this last one's going to be the Dallas Cowboys safeties against Hunter Henry. You look at the New England Patriots red zone offense. You look at their offense in general. Mac Jones loves to throw to his tight ends, especially Hunter Henry since they acquired him last year. He's one of his favorite targets down in the red zone and on third down as well. So I have J. Ron Curse and Donovan Wilson, the 2 names written down here. both of them are kind of that safety linebacker hybrid. They like to play in the box a lot. They like to play man coverage on the tight ends. Can they limit Hunter Henry in the red zone and on third downs and get the Patriots off the field without points? That's going to be the third biggest matchup in this game. So let's go ahead and jump into the X factors while we're at it. Let's keep this ball rolling here. Let's start with New England. The two X factors, as I always like to do, one offensively, one defensive X factor. The first offensive X factor for the Patriots, you guessed it. My boy right here, Ezekiel Elliott. As I mentioned, he only has 12 less yards than Ramondre Stevenson rushing this year with 18 less carries. He has 28 carries on the year for 122 rushing yards, averaging 4.4 yards per carry and a little over 40 rushing yards per game with 40.7. Big piece maybe Dallas is missing. I've heard in the news, in the sports media throughout the week this week, maybe having that big beefy bell cow running back to get you in the end zone versus the speedster running back down at the goal line to move that line of scrimmage and to get yourself into the end zone. Maybe Dallas is missing Ezekiel Elliott, but I think Zeke could be a big part of Patriots maybe keeping this game close, maybe even winning this game outright. If Dallas's rushing attack defensively looked like it did last week against James Conner and the Arizona Cardinals, they're going to be in trouble this week with Zeke Elliott, Ramondre Stevenson, and the New England Patriots. I think Ezekiel Elliott could be a big X factor in this game for the New England Patriots. I've already mentioned his name a couple of times, defensively X factor. Normally I like to go with a smaller name guy, kind of a sleeper, if you will. I don't want to talk about a lot of main guys, but Christian Gonzalez has to be the biggest X factor here, in my opinion, for the New England Patriots. 16 tackles on the year, 1 sack, 3 passes defense, and then an interception as well. Kid's been an absolute stud, and how the hell he fell in the draft to 17 or 18. I forget where he was in the late teens of the draft. I have no idea how he fell that low. And of course, Bill Belichick scooped him up and immediately plug and play and looked like a great player for years to come. So let's move to Dallas' side of the ball. I got 2 guys written down here. We got one on offense, one on defense. You know the script. Jaron Kearse, I've already mentioned his name once, Dallas to safety. I think he's going to be a big part of this game, guarding Hunter Henry and Mike Gesicki, the tight ends here for New England, as well as hopefully helping in that run game. Last week, he was the highlight of Rondale Moore on that 45-yard touchdown. Jaron Kearse took an awful route at safety and really was the last line of defense and was absolutely toasted on that touchdown. He has 15 tackles, 1 pick on the year. Pretty solid year so far for Jaron Kearse. He's going to be a big part of Dallas's defense in this game, in my opinion. Dallas offensively, Michael Gallup's the name that comes to mind as far as an X factor go. 8 catches on his 11 targets on the year, 105 yards, only about 35 per game on average. 5 of those 8 catches he has resulted in a Dallas Cowboy first down. And if you look at his numbers the first 2 weeks compared to last week, he really had a coming out party last week. As I mentioned, he only has 8 catches on the year. 6 of those 8 catches were last week. 92 of his 105 yards were also last week. And then 4 of his 5 first downs converted were also in last week's game. So can Michael Gallup have a repeat of performance this week? If Christian Gonzalez is shutting down CeeDee Lamb, Dallas is going to need another receiver to step up and be a target here for Dak Prescott. And can Michael Gallup be that guy? We shall see. So let's move into keys to victory here as far as what do the Dallas Cowboys need to do to secure a victory in this game at home and get a 10th straight home win in Jerry's world this weekend. Number 1 is convert in the red zone, plain and simple. You can't get down there 15 times and get 6 tuds. You need more. This 40% clip of touchdown in the red zone needs to be about 60 or 65, maybe even 70. If you're an elite offense, you're not going to beat the Eagles. You're not going to beat the 49ers. You're not going to beat these elite teams if you can't get 7 and you only can get 3. You have to figure out your red zone offense. And if it's doing some trickery bullshit, you got to do some trickery bullshit. But you got to figure out a way to get in the end zone. Number 2, create turnovers. As I mentioned, they're 7-0 turnover takeaway to turnover differential in their first 2 games, which resulted in a 2-0 start to the year. 0-1 last week as far as takeaways to turnovers. Dak Prescott threw a late interception that really sealed the game. Obviously, as I mentioned, turnover margin's a huge part of these games. Can Dallas create turnovers, and can they win the turnover differential in this game? Number 3 is stop the run. As I mentioned, they've allowed 394 rushing yards through the 3 games this year, and they've only allowed 392 passing yards. That is absolutely insane for basically a plus 50 point differential. If you look at their games, these teams have been behind the first 2 weeks, so they've been exclusively throwing the ball. How did they have such a bad week last week in their rushing defense to let this happen, to get to 394 yards through 3 games? That is terrible for a Dallas Cowboy defense. It's supposed to be historical. Fourth key to victory here, I mentioned it, limit Mac Jones on early downs. First and second down combined, he is 60 of 84 passing. That's 71.4%. 548 yards on first and second down combined. 5 tuds, 1 pick. 103.65 rating on average between first and second down. Whereas you look at his third down, it drops to 19 of 36 passing, 185 yards, 52.8% completion. He drops down almost 20 completion percentage points between first and second down combined or compared to third down. No tuds, 1 pick on third down. And as I mentioned, a 55.9 passer rating. It drops down about 48 rating points from first and second combined down to third down in comparison. So limit Mac Jones on first and second down. Make him beat you on third down because through 3 weeks of this season, he has not been able to do it. Fifth and final was pretty simple. Don't look ahead to next week. I know you play the 49ers next week on Sunday Night Football, and it could be a preview of an NFC divisional round or an NFC championship game potentially, but you got to take care of the task in front of you before you look ahead to next week. Last week, you could have made that same argument. Maybe Dallas was looking ahead to New England. Maybe they were looking 2 weeks out to the Niners, and they came out and they looked flat, going down 9-0 and then 15-3, and then down 21-10 at half to Arizona. They never recovered. So you can't look ahead. You got to take care of the opponent that's in front of you. You got to respect the opponent that's in front of you. Also, last thing, I'll add a 6 key to victory. We'll get you one bonus. Dallas Cowboys have committed 24 penalties on the year through 3 games. That is an average of 8 penalties a game. 13 of those 24 penalties came last week in Arizona. You're not going to win any games in the NFL with 13 penalties. You're not going to win many games with 8 penalties either. Dallas, you got to clean it up. That's a key to victory as well. You got to limit the penalties. You got to limit the mental mistakes. So let's go ahead. And the reason you're all here, the score prediction for this week. I've gone back and forth on it. The Patriots have won 6 of the last 7 games against Dallas. The only one that Dallas won was actually the last time they played. CeeDee Lamb, the walk-off touchdown in overtime, the wave as he's going into the end zone. Beautiful bootleg rollout by Dak. In this game this Sunday, I expect a 20-16 Dallas Cowboy victory. I think the Patriots cover. I think their defense is spectacular. They'll keep it close. I didn't mention the stats here. Dallas has the 6th best scoring offense, 3rd best scoring defense, whereas the Patriots have the 26th ranked scoring offense, but the 9th ranked scoring defense. Both of these defenses are really good. Dallas's offense is really good. Although the red zone offense is terrible, it's scary to think of how good this offense really could be if the red zone offense was humming as well. But I think the differential in this game, their defenses are right there neck and neck. But I think the Dallas offense is just too stout, and I think they have a little bit more oomph and a little bit more power than Mac Jones and the crew. I think Dallas gets it done 20-16. Stay tuned. Thank you guys for watching. We will have the review of the game given out either Monday or Tuesday here. And hopefully we're a little bit happier next week. But we will see. Welcome back home, Zeke. Hopefully they can do some awesome pregame for you. You deserve it. And we'll see. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.